It's about life and all the things we go through in it. Opinions are like assholes. Why dig in them? Keep it simple. Just wipe them. Everyone has an opinion, but yours is the one that matters. This podcast is life. Here's a thought. Your opinions matter only to you. Or do they? And if you need help answering that, my podcast is here to give you perspective and objective truth so you can decide. Welcome to Life Convo. My name is Lady and I'm your host. So if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. If you are a returning viewer and already a part of the Life Convo family, thank you for continuing to rock with your girl. And if you have not done so, make sure to go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss any of my videos. Now that's out the way, let's get into what we're here to talk about today. So today I wanted to bring you the topic of the Unborn Child Support Act. Now, you may remember this act was brought about by two U.S. senators. One was Marco Rubio, and he is the Republican senator from Florida. And then there's also Kevin Cramer. He is a Republican senator from North Dakota. And they introduced the Unborn Child Support Act, which basically, gives mothers the ability to be able to get child support for a child before it's born. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And this was back July 14th that they came out, with this proposal for this particular bill. And from what I understand, they have taken it to the House and the Senate, and it hasn't been passed yet. However, some states may be kind of like looking at it real seriously. So, how is that going to affect people? And I'm bringing it to your attention because I see like a day ago, Georgia has now decided that you can file an unborn child on your state taxes, which I know a lot of mothers that are currently pregnant are, if they live in Georgia, are like, okay, so I don't even got to wait till the child is born and, then file them or wait to that time period. Because, before, if you were pregnant after a certain time or before a certain time, you couldn't file a child. And now they're just saying that as long as you're pregnant, you can file the child. So how do y'all think that's going to work? Me personally, I don't see child support as a solution. And that's just my personal opinion. I feel that when you get with someone and you decide that you're going to make a child, or even if you, choose not to use birth control or whatever, and you feel like, oh, it's a surprise child or whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, what the individual that you chose to make the child with can afford. So you may want a $500 stroller and they may only have a $100 stroller money. So, the individual may be, a loving individual into you, yet they're not a nurturing individual when it comes to you guys having a child. Everybody doesn't want to be a parent. Everybody doesn't have that, I guess, what they call a parent gene. So my question is, how do you think this is going to work? How are people going to get their minds wrapped around it? Because for me, it's given problematic. It's given this is going to break up more households than keep them together. And I say that to say this. Let's just say an individual gets with someone and they are in a relationship, and for whatever reason they take a break. They need time apart. And let's say an individual deals with their ex, and whether it's a female or a male, and they get that person pregnant or they become pregnant themselves. And then you get back with your partner, no matter if it's a few days, a couple of hours, a couple of weeks, whatever. And you have done the deed with someone that wasn't the person who you just ended the relationship with. Now you and this person get back together, you find out that you're pregnant. And I mean, I can't speak from experience, but very difficult if you're sleeping with more than one person to know exactly who helped you create that child. So in this instance, the way that this act is set up, a person can basically point the finger at an individual and say that they got pregnant by this individual because it's up to the mother, and the mother can request payment from the month of conception. Now, the other thing is it's up to the state to provide, the evidential information of paternity for that individual that the mother has pointed the finger to. Now, here's the thing, and I don't know if it is even fathomable, but the thing is, the mother is the one that accepts consent. So they can't do paternity on the child, whether it's unborn or born, without the mother's consent. And I'm like, how is that going to work? Because if an individual is not sure who the father is, she may not want to do a paternity test. And so how does that go? And then I'm also looking at, if an individual is, the finger is pointing at them as they are the one that, helped this mother create this life, right? And they say, okay, you got to pay this money. And you like, okay, we all know it's going to be some simps that's just going to pay it. And later on find out the child ain't them and, whoop, whoop, whoop. However, it's going to be plenty of men that stand up and say, okay, well, I need to know. I want proof, whatever. The time frame ain't adding up, whatever. It's going to be plenty of people's family members just not accepting that a child is someone who says, they're the father, and they're going to get pressure put on them. And then they may ask for, a paternity test or whatever. So in that case, how does it work? Does the state or the governing body just say, okay, well, you got to pay this money. And then once we figure out if it's yours or not, if it's not, then you'll get your money back. Or if you don't pay the money and they pursue you and you end up in court or you go to jail, do you get to sue the person who fingered you as the father? Do you get to sue the, court judge or the court itself? Do you get to sue the legal representation, such as, it could be Department of Health and Human Services, it can be private legal assistance? How do you get back to you when this has been put upon you and it's not even your child? Like, how does that make sense? And then I'm also looking at these senators, they state, and I'm reading an article here, and it says that we should do and these are their words, not mine, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio from Florida and Kevin Cramer, they say we should do everything we can to support American mothers and their children. This bill would allow expecting mothers to prepare and support their babies before they are born. Caring for the well-being of our children begins long before a baby is born. It begins at the first moment of life, conception, and fathers have obligations, financial and otherwise, during pregnancy. Mothers should be able to access child support payments as soon as she is supporting a child, and our bill make this possible. So I get that, because we all know that fathers should be obligated or feel that they have obligation financially, mentally, physically, emotionally to help raise the child. However, that's what it should be. That's not reality. You can't make someone want a baby with you, and you can't make someone care for a child, whether it be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically. And it doesn't matter, what the court say or what their family say or person say. If they don't want it, they don't want it. So how is this going to work? Because it's going to be a lot of individuals that are doing the do with females, and fall back. I mean, it's no other way to say it. They're not gonna stick around, and they're not going to be a part of the female's life, and they may have multiple females they're dealing with. And if that said female says, oh, I'm pregnant, and you the father, and I'm taking you out for child support, what can you do? And if they choose not to pay, you can't make them pay. If they choose not to be around or be a part of that child's life, or your life for that matter, you can't make it so. So I just see a lot of problems. And it seems like since, Roe v. Wade was overturned and all of these different states have deemed abortion illegal, that they're trying to come up with a way to keep the father on the hook and say, okay, well, at the moment of conception, you're financially responsible. So you need to get them coins together. That is what I'm feeling. However, it's going to cause a lot of strife in relationships where an individual is with someone and didn't know they were pregnant, and the person thinks they're the father, and then, they're not the father because this person needed to get child support, and it comes back they're not the father. Well, you can't give someone their time back. That's what I really feel like people are missing. You can't give time back. The point is, how is this gonna work? How is it gonna help? In my opinion, women are going to break down families more. And this happened with the Black family, where, Black men were removed from the home. And if they were in the home, a woman couldn't get assistance. The Welfare Act was a way to break up Black families, in addition to incarceration. And now it's going to be not just Black families affected, but all families that will be affected. And I say that because if you are in a relationship with someone, no matter what your race is, and they take out child support, and for whatever reason, and you want a blood test because that's just how you feel, and they're not willing to give you one, is an issue. If you are told that this is your child and you begin to take care of the unborn child, fetus, whatever you choose to call the pregnancy, miracle baby, and things start to seem suspicious, dates are not adding up, you realize you weren't able to have sex, or whatever the case may be, and you request a paternity for the child and you're not granted one, that's going to cause more strife. And that can cause other things such as, the relationship breaking down, communication, you pulling away, her pulling away, things of that nature. It's just not healthy for the child. And we already have so many individuals here that are teenagers, adults, even in our elderly population, and they can tell you that being raised by a single mother, you learn a lot, you grow up a little sooner, you're stronger for it. However, you would have loved to have your father in the household. It was just certain things that just would have made the dynamic of, being in a family that much better. And I can say personally, with my mother and father not being together and me not growing up with my father in the home, it was very difficult for me. Not because I was a difficult child or my mom didn't have someone. It was because the way I was treated growing up within our household, in addition to, when I left our household. So I went back and forth between my mom and my dad. And it sucked, honestly, because I was with this side of the family, I was with that side of the family. And if you've ever listened to my podcast, which is down below on the screen, which is my Life Convo audio podcast, you've heard me talk about that situation. So needless to say, I just really feel that this is just not good. And so I'm going to read you some of the bullet points that I found. And it says, that the states will establish and enforce child support obligations of the biological father of the unborn child and subsequent to the birth of the child to the mother of such child provided. So that just basically means, the state has to establish and enforce pretty much child support for the person that the mother has fingered as being the father of the child before it's born. Okay, and then it says the mother has requested payment of child support obligations. The start date for which obligations may begin with the first month in which the child was conceived, as determined by a physician, and shall begin within the month if the mother so requests. So that basically means that when she finds out that she's pregnant by her doctor, she can request child support, and the month that she got pregnant, the father has to pay. The next sentence is payments for such obligations may be retroactively collected or rewarded, including in the case where paternity is established subsequent to the birth of the child. So basically saying that if paternity is established, after the birth of the child, and the mother says she wants child support, they can go back and retroactively have the father pay from the moment of, the month of conception. And I'm going to make sure I leave a link with, the information that I found and what I'm reading, so that you can kind of really look into it for yourself and dig into it. Yet, ladies, or the men out there, don't make a temporary decision that will cause permanent outcome. At the end of the day, yes, this is happening. These are the things that they're bringing forth, and there's going to be so much more to come. Since Roe v. Wade has been overturned, they're going to be bringing so many different bills down the pipeline. To me, they don't make sense. I understand the reasoning behind it, yet it's not going to bode well for families. It's not going to bode well for single mothers, or it's not going to bode well for the female or male genders within society. It's going to cause strife. So just pay attention and make sure that you are not making temporary decisions that become permanent outcomes. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next video.